Alright, so Strauss Zelnick, the CEO of Rockstar Games' parent company, has made new comments about GTA 6 in a few recent interviews. Today I'll be going over everything you need to know in my GTA 6 news series. So up first is the interview on the Arthi and Serum Show, which is a podcast that interviews many different CEOs. So it's a pretty lengthy podcast. I'll have it linked in the description in case you want to watch it. They talk a lot about Strauss's fitness goals, his passion, being a CEO for such a big company, and of course ask him about GTA 6, and I'll show you that comment on screen. So Strauss said, "I think that's a challenge that the folks that Rockstar face every new time there's a new iteration of GTA. It needs to be something you've never seen before on the one hand, and it needs to reflect the feeling that we have about GTA. That's a big challenge for the team." Now Rockstar's answer is to just seek perfection. Seek nothing short of perfection, and then we'll get there. Now Rockstar Games' perfection is definitely the reason why I consider them my favourite gaming publisher, and why I decided to essentially base my YouTube channel around Rockstar Games, is because of the attention to detail that they have in their games. You know, they're not firing out like a new Assassin's Creed every year. The 10-year wait that we have between these GTAs is probably going to become pretty standard for Red Dead Redemption 3. I think it's a pretty reasonable time frame to expect to wait before we see the next Red Dead Redemption game also. We also saw last year in the huge GTA 6 gameplay leak that happened last year, the huge improvements Rockstar have made to a lot of the smaller details, you know, the police AI in the game, the NPC physics, a lot of the smaller details in the game. I even made a video with 100 different facts that we now know about GTA 6 just from that short gameplay leak that we had. Alright, so let's move on to the next interview with Strauss that was on CNBC, and I'm going to show you guys a quick clip from this one.
This is his first television interview since the company reported fourth quarter results last week, with revenue beating the street and signals of a very strong future slate of games. And I think that's the headline here. So this was huge news. You are not somebody who, is big on theatrics or is into hyperbole or any of those things. But last week, when you talked about your earnings and your guidance, you said that you're going to be looking at more than $8 billion in revenue next year for games. And that's 45% ahead of the midpoint of the street's estimates on things. That is huge, huge news. And it's got people speculating that you've got to have Grand Theft Auto 6 coming out.
So we've said that we're working on the next iteration of Grand Theft Auto, but Rockstar hasn't announced a release date yet. We've been working on this huge pipeline. We have 36 titles coming to market in fiscal 25 and 26, and we obviously have high expectations. And you're right, we typically don't talk about future years. We typically give guidance, and we try to go right down the middle. That's what we're supposed to do. In this instance, we wanted to give the street the transparency it's been asking for. So we basically gave an outlook for this fiscal year and subsequent too. And what's interesting is we have high expectations for fiscal 25, but we also expect sequential growth in fiscal 26. We've been working on this pipeline for a long time, and we have a pretty good ability to predict the performance of new iterations of existing franchises.
Like Grand Theft Auto?
And we have 14 franchises that have each sold over 5 million units in an individual release. Titles like Red Dead and Borderlands, BioShock, Civilization, and many others.
As you can see, Strauss Zelnick is an absolute pro at dodging questions here. And the interviewer is basically asking him about the $8 billion in net bookings he is anticipating between April 2024 and April 2025 in that fiscal year, which basically only GTA 6 could do those numbers, giving us a huge indication on when we can expect the release date of this game to be. And not only that, but also the momentum he's talking about growing in fiscal year 2026. Something like that could only be done with something like GTA 6 Online. That game is going to just make billions and billions of dollars, and as you can see, Take-Two's interactive stock has gone up in anticipation of this. Moving on, we have some new comments from Tez2, a Rockstar insider, regarding some potential delays with the fiscal year 2025 window. And he said there are recent policy changes within the industry that may contribute to a delay. Changes to work from home policy and returning to office with a hybrid policy, enforcing mandatory 3 in-office days, which has risk of losing talent or is already bleeding staff. And this issue isn't just isolated to Rockstar Games. There's, hundreds of companies around the world that are also having these kind of issues with staff that have quite literally moved away from the office, quite in some cases even moved states away from their office and physically can't come back into work. So they have no choice but to work from home or, move back to the office or risk losing their job. Tez says you have the CEO stating the following, and that many senior members share his view, but the devs in disapproval state that the decision is made by 1 to 3 executives/managers refusing feedback. There's word that one Rockstar studio is considering eventually returning to pre-pandemic full-time office schedule as we arrive much closer to GTA 6's release window. I had a sense of doubt, but seeing the CEO stating the above increases that possibility. The risk of losing talent contributes to a higher chance of a delay. And here's what Strauss Zelnick had to say on this. When speaking with IGN, he attributed the delays to consumer demand for excellence, among other factors. The best possible way to look at it is that we're all seeking quality and consumers are demanding quality, and sometimes that can take longer than expected, Zelnick said. And another way to look at it is that we're having some productivity challenges. I think people here would say that it's not all about productivity, it's about seeking excellence. I think the truth is that probably somewhere in the middle. Asked to clarify productivity changes, Zelnick pointed to the company's hybrid work policy, which encourages workers to be in the office 3 times per week, but sees many work remotely. My personal view is that we probably do our best when we're together in person, Zelnick said. In terms of changing the policy, Zelnick said he would listen and trust his colleagues, but that many senior members of the company share his view. Hybrid work is an ongoing discussion in the games industry and is in many other industries. The decision to return back to the office full-time at Activision Blizzard, Nintendo, and other companies has spurred backlash from its workers, some of whom point to the impact on raising children, among other issues. So a combination of Rockstar's perfectionism and also these internal issues with working from home are all contributing to potential further delays in GTA 6. So between that release window, April 2024 to April 2025, I'm personally expecting it to be towards the later end of that window. But do let me know down in the comments section below, guys, in the release window that Take-Two Interactive have presented, when do you think we can actually expect GTA 6? Do you think it's likely to be in 2024 or later in 2025? If you're excited for GTA 6, don't forget to subscribe. I'll be keeping you up to date with all the latest news and updates in this news series. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.